Hey, it's Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS here with another Random Thoughts podcast. This time we are going to talk about everything about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie 2, the movie franchise, just kind of everything together. I'll probably throw a little Sonic Prime in there. Just kind of all my thoughts and everything going into this. And so first off, I've seen the movie about 6 times by now. So I saw it 3 times in the theater and another couple of times at home. And just full disclosure, this is spoilers. Going to be lots of spoilers in this. So just going in, first starting off, the first Sonic movie was very good. And I kind of, for my all intensive putting it, I would say the first Sonic movie was a better movie from a non-Sonic fan perspective. But Sonic Movie 2 is a better Sonic movie. With one thing that I feel is missing to make it a great Sonic movie, and that is the music. But when it comes to references, Sonic 2 just like kills it and nails it with the references. It nails it with the game lore, like incorporating little bits of game lore in there. It's just amazing. And so that's why it's kind of disappointing is that I feel that the one thing that does drag this movie down is that there were contracts with the humans. This had a plot that didn't need the humans, so they created a plot with the whole wedding thing that required the humans. But I'm going to go into some of the stuff that I love. I love right off the bat, like them doing the whole Sonic and the Chili Dog. If you're a Sonic fan from the 90s, that was a huge thing. And it's funny because it's recently made it into the games. Only recently has Sega finally figured out that, Sega Japan, I should say, that this is an American thing that is like synonymous with Sonic. And they've been putting it in the games for like the last 10 years, little hints at it, seeing it in the movie. It's like, okay, we get this. This is now part of Sonic. This is not just the American cartoons. So I love that. Some of the Easter eggs, when Sonic's going nuts having the party in the house, and he's going through the different hairstyles, a bunch of those are actually taken from Sonic Underground. And that is like the wackiest, craziest thing. There's even a point where he has a bubble bath mustache and he looks like Uncle Chuck from the cartoons. So many obvious deep cuts like that are just amazing in this. The way that they did Knuckles' character, giving the backstory of how Knuckles became the last Echidna, I really enjoyed that. I really loved Idris Elba as Knuckles. Nailed it in this movie. So, other things. A Sonic fan hack of the game is called Sonic EXE. It's kind of Sonic 1 redone as a horror game where he's got like red dripping eyes. When Robotnik has a little hologram thing, it has red eyes. It looks like Sonic EXE. I love little touches like that. Just like we had Sonic be the drawing that Carl did in the last movie. Other things that I noticed or was pointed out to me, when they come into the bar scene, which is something that is a lot of controversial for a lot of people, and they're dressed up in costumes, those are directly taken from a time when Sonic and Tails had to dress up in, or when characters from the Sonic franchise, not necessarily Sonic and Tails, had to dress up in the Sonic the comic, the British UK-based comic for Sonic. Those were outfits that were worn in that as disguises. That is the most niche of niche Easter eggs. Just different references to stuff. The fact that Knuckles loves grapes. I love that so much because my introduction to Sonic was that I had won Sonic 3 from McDonald's and then went on to watch the cartoons and all that. But I had the game manual for, I worked the math out one time, but it was like 4 years because it was from when that came out till I got my Genesis like December of '98. That's how long. All I had was the game manual, and that to me was video games. Watching the cartoons on the weekends and just reading the manual from cover to cover, and that was part of Knuckles' bio. Is it's Knuckles likes grapes. That was like he's a treasure hunter. He's this. He's a guardian of the Master Emerald. He's protecting his island from Sonic. All this like deep lore stuff, and and he likes grapes. It was just a random line that because it's a very Japanese thing, like listing off. Japanese they like to list off like their blood type and like favorite food or color, like weird stuff like that in game bios. Not something normally that makes it into the American, but it was just funny that made it into the American manual. Just like this weird abstract fact of like this short little paragraph bio of everything that's important to know about Knuckles. And one of them is he likes grapes. So the fact that made it in the movie, like that was a huge deep cut. When the they're going over the manual for the thing, and it's like the whole Genesis manual. Oh, it was great. Remember, this is spoilers. So the final no. Let's go through the movie in order, because I'm rambling here. But when the movie starts, you go through there, and you have this awkward thing of Tom starting to now, instead of be the friend character, he is trying to be the dad character, like the stepdad or whatever, foster dad. That's kind of odd. I get why they did it, because technically he was filling the role that is Tails. Tails is kind of the younger brother character, and Knuckles is kind of like the brotherly rival. Where they're getting along, not getting along. So those two characters being added to the roster kind of makes Tom as a human character filling that same role kind of redundant. And so they wanted to progress his role into something that none of those characters do. I get why they did that. I certainly didn't want it to be like Chris Thorndike, where from Sonic X, where they were making a human character take the place of pivotal moments of the other characters and somehow be more important to the story than the other side characters. But I really feel like Tom should have gone to Hawaii, and maybe the last act, he even could have shortened but done the thing. But instead of having Sonic go to Hawaii, just have it be like Wade called them from Green Hills, said, "Hey, Robotnik's back," or something like that. Turns out Gunn Gunn picks them up and says, "Hey, something's going on with Sonic. Green Hills, you need to come. We need Sonic. Robotnik's back." Whatever. Bring them back. I don't think that we needed the whole wedding thing. And as fun as the wedding scene is, when his sister, Tom's sister-in-law, like goes full, wedding drama queen, when she finds out her whole wedding is Project Catfish. As fun as that was, the whole them having to break into Gunn with Tails' toys, like that just drew on. If it was going to be a plot point, it needed to be a 10-minute plot point, not a 30-minute plot point. Like the whole thing with the Reverend and the taser and the Bible, like it was all funny. But that kind of drug on. Just like I think if they could have figured out a way with the bar scene to dramatize that less, maybe take 5 minutes off of that. I don't know. They could still have the dance off, but which was weird and stuff. But it's a kids movie. I kind of expected that, but it was funny. But as somebody who's looking for it to be above a Chipmunk movie, it felt very Chipmunk movie, like an Alvin and the Chipmunk movie. But so anyways, the whole plot of like how Eggman finds Knuckles, or Robotnik, I should say, garners Knuckles' attention and comes out. That's great. Some little tidbits, if you've seen the deleted scenes. One, the whole thing about Eggman being high on mushrooms. I get why they didn't want that in a kid's movie, but that was hilarious. Love that. Another thing, a little point from the novelization. They show Jim Carrey like showing up on the little tractor, and he's following Knuckles. And I love this is that he's so smart that he's beyond basic stuff. And so in his mind, he didn't realize lawn tractors moved slow. That he thought that this was like he was going to hop on there and drive it like a motorcycle or something, like it would go into gear, because he's that far removed from like normal life that he just wouldn't get the concept that it'd be slow. And so like when he's getting off and kicking it, like he's super frustrated. They add that in the novelization. I think that's kind of cool. Another thing, I saw some people complain that like Knuckles has like streaks behind him, but why don't Cars? Because he's barely keeping up with Cars, and yet he's got the motion blur like the Flash, whatever. And the way I took away is that blur is not necessarily about speed, but it is an effect of them using their power. So he's not physically necessarily moving that fast. It's a thing of his power that is propelling him that fast, like Sonic. So he's got that little motion blur because he's using his chaos power. Not necessarily because he's moving so fast that it makes him blurry. I love the scene when he like breaks through like the water truck. Really good. I really other little bit of caveat here. I really wish Tails was developed more. And as much as I love that Colleen was Tails, I thought she was perfect as Tails in this. Loved it. I almost feel like because they didn't get a celebrity to play Tails, that's why Tails got the short end of the stick. Like, had they gotten Tom Holland, would have Tails played a bigger role? Was that why they didn't get a celebrity to play Tails? Because they knew that Tails was not going to be front and center, so why pay the money for a side character? That's a bit of a bummer. I get that this is not going to be a 10-movie series, so they don't want to do a movie introducing Tails, and then a movie introducing Knuckles, and then a movie introducing Amy, and then a movie introducing Shadow. So they're going to have to do multiple characters. But I do feel like Tails got a little bit of the short end. I do hope that if Tails continues to be in the movies going forward, that overall Tails will get justice, even though I fully expect there to be 3 additional characters added in the next movie. And a lot of people are really upset about that and think that that's going to, like, just... Some characters don't need full backstory. If Rouge the Bat shows up, she doesn't need a lot of screen time. I want Amy to show up. We know we're going to get Shadow. But I want Amy to show up. I think after Tails and Knuckles, she's the most pivotal core character, and she's the only female core character. There are other female characters in the Sonic cast, but she is the core female character, and I think not having her there is very noticeable. I really think that they should have just introduced her in this movie. It's like they had Tails. I think she should have come through with Tails and played the fangirl part. That's just my opinion. Tails is this, fanboying that they could have easily made it. Now it's going to be, how do you introduce Amy that isn't awkward? Okay? So, my opinion for this movie, they should have introduced Amy. That would allow them to introduce Shadow and Rouge and whatever else they want. We're going to get the Knuckles series. And I think that would probably be a good place to introduce Rouge, or to possibly, in my opinion, I think the smartest thing for them to do would be to do this Sonic Adventure story arc, but with Knuckles. The whole thing about Chaos and the Master Emerald and all that. Do that with Knuckles, because that, while Sonic was the main hero of that story, it was very much a Knuckles Echidna-based story. And when you look at the world that they've built up, how they've intertwined Sonic and Knuckles in this, it very much could be a Knuckles told story, where Sonic's in it, but he's background. So with that, I think the Knuckles series definitely has promise for that, and then they could go into Sonic Adventure 2 with Shadow in the movie 3. So, going on, it does have a little Rise of Skywalker in it, and then it's they got to find the Compass MacGuffin to find the other MacGuffin to get the Master Emerald, which turns out to be containing all the Chaos Emeralds, to blah, 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 blah. It is a fetch quest to get a fetch quest. But compared to like the idea of them trying to get all the Chaos Emeralds, how you would fit that into a movie, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I think Sonic works so much better as a TV show than a movie platform, is because it is the whole concept of the 7 Chaos Emeralds really works well in episodic, where you have like every 2 or 3 episodes you get a Chaos Emerald. You got to get 7, season finale, he turns into Super Sonic, big boss battle, reset, new season. It worked really well in Sonic X. It works. It's just kind of the Sonic formula. It's just the formula of all the games. It is hard to distill that into a 2-hour movie. I really love the character interactions with Knuckles. When they get to the temple, this is Marble Garden Zone. This is from Sonic 2, Mystic Ruins. This is also the Temple Zone from Sonic Adventure. All of those have been combined into one. And there are definite game elements from those, and so I really love it. And then they tied in all the owl stuff. And I really like that, because what's funny is that there is a lot of bird lore to Sonic. In the original game, there's all these like totem poles with bird faces on it. There's rock etches with scribed bird faces in it. And it's never explained. It was just like a simple art direction part of it. And then you get to the Mystic Ruins in Sonic 2, and it's, once again, a bunch of bird stuff scribed in there. And it's never explained, never explained. In the Sonic Riders like spin-off game about hoverboarding, the bad guys in that are a bunch of birds, and they have the Hanging Garden of Babylon, and they find out, they were an alien race that came to Earth, and blah, 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 blah. And they touched on this like concept of like this being an ancient race. And one of the things that has been explored to death in the comics and in some Sonic games that are no longer considered canon, is the concept of like ancient civilizations. So like the Knuckles tribe, sometimes in certain comic lore it's the Kingdom of Acorn, as kind of like a royal bloodline of squirrel people. And they're very British. And then you have, I should say squirrel chipmunk people. But then you have stuff like the ancient birds. And this is something that has cropped up into Sonic multiple times. It was in the Sonic OVA. There was references to this old owl man and different things like that, which is funny because other stuff from the Sonic OVA has reappeared too, like Sonic having like this human or human with cat ears and a tail girlfriend. Originally, Sonic was supposed to have a girlfriend, a Madonna. So that has shown up. I would actually love for them to make a Madonna joke in the Sonic movies, because that is such core to like deep Sonic thing. Like they need to call him Mr. Needle Mouse. They need to do some of these deep things because they're already doing so much. The thing they're not doing is the music. And some of it they're doing so subtly. When they did, apparently, if you play back the music, speed it up, do this and that, when Sonic's drowning, he and he gets the bubble, but it doesn't make the noise. He just gets the bubble. That was amazing. As a Sonic fan, that was amazing. We all wanted to hear the music. And apparently it was so subtly there in the background that nobody caught it. That music is such a part of my childhood, so much dread, that would have added so much level of tension to the movie. And the funny thing is it is a daunting theme like Jaws. It's dun 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 dun. You know, like it's escalating, it's daunting. If you played that with a piano, whatever, they don't have to do it in game like Genesis mix. They can do it with orchestra or whatever, but that should be the tonal music. And that's kind of my thing. Like everybody thinks when Sonic fans are saying, "Oh, it needs to be the music," that it needs to be 8-bit, do 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 do. Like that was funny with a cell phone, but I would like orchestra or music, or like when they're in the first movie, like when he was going on the big run, they could have played some of the places that were similar in Sonic Unleashed where he ran through. They could have been playing that music in that chase scene. There could be some dramatic game style music. I do think with all the pop music in it, maybe none of the Crush 40 songs necessarily fit this movie. Have Crush 40 record some music specifically for this movie. I think that would have been amazing. I think that would have blown us away. I think like the drowning music, stuff like that would go such a long way of just incorporating some Sonic music into the already existing music, especially when everybody that says, no, when you pop Crush 40 in there, some of the pop music in this, to me, took me out more than the first movie. It felt kind of out of place. As I've watched it more times, I'm liking it more, but that the end battle scene, everyone calls it the Death Egg Robot, but that's actually the giant egg robot, is what it's more closely through from Sonic 3. Just the size difference. I love that. I that so much that. And then how they had the Master Emerald come apart, turn on the castle. That was cool plot twist. But then Knuckles being able to put it back together. To me, that was something that was truly amazing because Knuckles is able to do that in the games. So as a game fan, I'm like, yes, Knuckles can do that. Knuckles can do that. It really, really played well. Some of the things that I thought, just like that end battle, I really like it. I like how they teased Shadow the Hedgehog. I really think that Asian agent is going to be like Topaz in Sonic X. They're going to team her up with Rouge the Bat in the next movie. I really think that Olive Garden Gun Commander is going to play a role similar to the Gun Commander. And that now, are they going to do Maria? Are they going to do... It's interesting. I think this next movie is going to be very tricky because the origin stories of Sonic have been told so many different ways, but the Adventure series has been retold a couple of times, and people have pretty much rejected every one of them but the game. Sonic X did it, Archie Comics did it. Both of those are pretty much sandblasted by fans as being horrible adaptations. Are they going to show... Also, a lot of people think that, it's a kid's movie, they can't show Maria getting shot. I totally think that they can. They showed it in a kid's game, they can show it in a kid's movie. Do I think it'll be super graphic or something? I think no, they're going to show up just like the game, a bunch of men walking in with guns, and them saying, having her say forgive them and hitting the button, and then we don't see it, but it's going to be implied she was killed by the government. I could totally see them doing that. But are they going to even do the arc thing? Are they going to blow up part of the moon? What are they going to do? Or are they going to just do something like it could just be a doomsday machine? Are they going to have Eggman be part of it? Is Jim Carrey going to get to play older Eggman? Or could they maybe bring in Mike Pollock to play Eggman's grandfather? That would be cool. I would definitely Sega Paramount, please do that. So some other things surrounding this. First, let's talk about the little short that they did. If you haven't seen it, it's a bonus feature. First off, why is Ben Schwartz the one that's still voicing, but not Idris Elba, who's about to have his own series? And why not Colleen? Why did they swap out Colleen for that little short? That's what seems the weirdest to me, because Colleen is not the famous actor. She does all the games. She does the cartoons. So why was she not available to voice Tails? That one, the guy that they got to do Knuckles is so close that, like, if Idris Elba said, hey, I'm out, like, they could just have that guy be in the next movie. If Idris Elba said, I'm too busy to do Sonic, he was that close to Idris Elba's Knuckles. I'm not trying to take away from Idris Elba, because Idris Elba did an amazing, superb job with this. But the animation in this, like, if this is what we're getting for the Knuckles series, I think it would be amazing. They've said that the Knuckles series, no, that's live action. This was all cartoon, but made to almost look like live action. And I really think a series done like this is something that should happen. That the Sonic movie universe should continue on. And if Carrie is indeed done, then maybe they should go to animated movies or shows and have Jim Carrey voice it, or somebody who sounds like Jim Carrey. Because, like, Jim Carrey didn't voice the Mask cartoon or anything like that. But it's a lot easier to mimic Jim Carrey's voice than it is to pretend to be Jim Carrey in live action. So I could definitely see, like, if Jim Carrey says, I'm out, I really do think he's going to do Sonic 3. So let's talk a little bit about that. Jim Carrey said in an interview when this was coming out that after his current project is done, that he's going to step down from acting. He wants to spend more time with his family. Sonic 3 is already in development. He's talking about an ongoing project. And he's talking about, I want to wear this fat suit. I want to do this. I want to do that. He's talking about Sonic like he's going to continue to do Sonic. He's also talking about leaving acting now that he's done with Sonic. I really think he's planning on doing Sonic 3. Now, maybe he's bidding for more money, more top billing, because he's not even top billed in these movies. But I really think that he wants to do more, but he's letting people know that this is his last character. This is the last thing he's doing is Sonic. I don't think he's going to do more than 3 movies. I don't think he'll be back for a Sonic 4. And I honestly don't think Sonic as a franchise needs to be a yearly movie. I think that after you do 3, and it's going to be big, if they were to try to do a Sonic 4, they're going to see the dip. Now, Shadow the Hedgehog, there's a whole part of the fandom, like, that is going to bring some hype. It will probably bump out better numbers than Sonic 2, but I think after you've done 3 of these, some of the appeals are, like, I went and saw this 3 times. I went and saw the last one 4 or 5, I can't remember. And I've never gone and seen a movie more than once before in my life. But I'm a Sonic fan. But there's Sonic fans who have gone and seen this 30 times in the theater. Like, the numbers that are pulled in aren't because it's just so popular with general audience. It's because Sonic fans are going back and back and back. It's one of the reasons why certain Marvel movies, certain Star Wars movies, like, there are fanatical fans that go back and back and back. Why is Sonic putting up, such great numbers compared to something like Alvin and the Chipmunks is because Sonic fans are going and repeating. So you're catching that whole general family-friendly atmosphere that goes and does that. You're also catching the Sonic fans that are diehard that are going multiple times, and they're bumping that number up. And that's how they're making that number despite not being in China, Japan, and Russia right now. So I do think that by the time it hits 4, like the novelty of Sonic being in the theater and like that being like this, whoa, is actually going to wear off for Sonic fans. And they'll be like, oh, I'll go see it once or twice, and then I'll wait for it to be on DVD. You know, I've seen a Sonic movie. It's not like this mind-blowing thing that Sonic is in the theater anymore. And so I think there'll be a diminishing return, and that's where I think like this franchise would be better at that point spun off onto like a Paramount Plus cartoon series, especially seeing as Sonic Prime looks like it's going to be a one and done, maybe released in 2 batches, but it's going to be like released on Netflix as a bingeable show, and it's not going to be like a 3-4 season type show. So that's going to come and go, and the Sonic movie 3 is going to come out after that. So I really think that there's then going to be a void where there's not an active Sonic cartoon. That's how they should continue the Sonic movie universe. Ugly Sonic. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Rescue Rangers and how they did. First of all, they did not credit Paramount or Sega or any of that in the credits. That's really weird, because they totally said that was fair use, which I find incredibly funny because Paramount has been copyright striking every Sonic fan that showed off a McDonald's toy or a comic or poster or whatever of Sonic movie merch, sometimes even regular Sonic the Hedgehog stuff. Paramount went like scorched earth on the internet. And it's funny because Sonic Frontiers marketing of the games right now, of Frontiers and Origins, has been done just so horribly. And everyone's like, man, the movie marketing is so much better. But in my opinion, the movie marketing was also done badly in the fact that Paramount was attacking Sonic fans. Because Sega is this huge open company to fan game community, to the fan art community. I mean, they made a custom character in Sonic Forces because Sonic is so big on websites like DeviantArt and stuff, and custom OCs do not still. They fully embraced it. They're hiring people who are making fan games to make actual games. And they got this deal with Paramount, and Paramount is so used to just everybody trashing on all their content. Halo, Star Trek, all that. That they have like this scorched earth policy. They're not used to positive customer chatter. So when Sonic is being done in all these people are like, oh yeah, Sonic, and they're like, no, they don't let fans talk about Sonic, they're gonna bash us, and they're like copyright striking positive reviews and stuff like that. That just looks so bad, and it's really ruffles the Sonic community, because the Sonic community, one of the things that really drives me nuts is they have a very skewed view of what fair use is. Because Sega is cool with stuff. Sega realizes they get a lot of free advertising. But Sega is free within their rights to shut all the fan games down. They can. And when like Nintendo comes in and they act like Nintendo's some evil company for doing it. And it's like, no, and occasionally Sega will do this with a game. And it's usually because they have a project similar to it coming up. And they just like, Sega and Sonic fans just like freak out over it. We should be grateful for how fortunate we are that we have this big corporate company that is so cool with the fans doing stuff. Especially when you have all these people making videos saying, oh wow, the fan games are so much better than the games being officially put out right now. that they aren't taking that and going, wow, these fan games are cutting into our sales or something. No, they're going, this is keeping the brand alive. This is keeping people interested in Sonic. And we can mine these people to be developers on our games. Let's have a Christian Whitehead, a Taxman, or whatever. Let's get them to legendary status among the fans as like this amazing programmer, and then let's bring them in to do a game and plop their name on it. And when we plop their name on it, that's going to get that whole modding, like, diehard fan community. They're going to blow up advertising this game. Sega understands that, but they don't have to. They have the legal right to not. But for Paramount, it's like, this is just a really bad look. It's just a really bad look. It's very anti-Sonic, so to speak. So for all the things they do, I feel like they didn't capture the music, and they definitely didn't capture the openness to the Sonic community at large. I will say, for all the wedding scene and all that, it very much reminded me of Sonic X, the principal teacher, of the whole idea that the government would embed somebody into the humans who are around Sonic's life to get to Sonic and spy on Sonic. I did like that concept. I just didn't like how it was executed. Overall, I think this was an amazing step forward. I feel like, looking at it, I can't hold it up and say it's the most amazing cinema. I can't legitimately tell people, oh, no, this is not like an Alvin and Chipmunk. Because if you're not a Sonic fan, if you don't get the references, this movie has some storytelling flaws in it. However, if you're in the know, if you're in the Sonic fandom, and you know how much love and attention and pleasing of the fans went into this, it's amazing. So if you're somebody coming from the outside, and you're kind of, appreciate that, because this is the level of detail that we're not seeing in Star Wars. I'm amazed in Star Wars. Like, Dave Filoni does a lot of EU references, but like when you're watching Kenobi and you're like, well, no, that doesn't match up right with canon, even with Disney canon. That's the fact that Sega is just, or I mean Paramount is managing this to ooze that. And it's funny because Paramount is also, the Halo series did not do well at this. The Star Trek Strange New Worlds apparently is, but the previous stuff, a lot of fans are like, this does not jive with what this property is. This is a take that obviously the movie universe is different than, and that's one of the benefits Sonic has. Just like I feel like when people get super upset at like Marvel or other stuff because it's not just like what they're used to, I have to stop and go, okay, it's not, but there's been like 5 or 6 reboots of the timeline in the comics, and there's multiverse in the comics and all this stuff. So this is happening on a different universe in the multiverse than what the comics are. So they have some leeway to change some things because it's multiverse. This is not the same Spider-Man, the same X-Men, this is a different universe's version of Iron Man, whatever. Different version of Batman or that. I'm a stickler for it. Sometimes it bothers me. I'm a real picky person when it comes to Batman. But they have some leeway there. I feel like they have that same leeway with Sonic because unlike certain properties, Sonic has, from the very beginning, Japan had their own version of Sonic. I mean, he was Maurice the Hedgehog, who had the ability to turn in from a regular colored hedgehog to the superpowered blue hedgehog. Like, that's the Japanese, and he has a sister, and it's and a secret identity, and all this stuff. You get none of that from the games. In Britain, he caused an accident that turned the nice scientist of Kintobor into Robotnik. that whole backstory of Sonic is just a dick. He's a jerk. He's mocks everybody with this, and if he turns into Super Sonic, he's evil. Like, that's all, like, if you're in the UK, that is Sonic. And that's not, and then you have, like, the US with the whole Sat AM and then Archie and all the kind of weird stuff there. And then they had, like, the Adventures of series, which was, like, Looney Tunes style. They've done in Sonic X with the two worlds, bringing that whole thing into it. There have been so many different renditions of what Sonic is. We recently had Sonic Boom, that spin-off series. They changed Sonic so much that there is a bit of loosey-goosiness to that. I am worried with Sonic Movie 3 because, like I said, the fans are very particular about the Shadow storyline. And I really don't think they're going to follow it to a T. I don't think that there's going to be a space colony arc and they're going to blow up half the moon and there's going to be a Knuckles quest this here and they're going to go to Pumpkin Hill. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. And I think there's a portion of the fan base that, like, if Shadow doesn't have the same redemption arc, they're going to mutiny. One of the things a lot of people criticize Boom. I really loved Boom for the fact that they made Shadow just a pure evil guy. Because that's fun having a villain for Sonic. But I think there's a lot for this franchise to go. I think there's a lot to enjoy here. I definitely see this movie go into the caveat, if you're not a Sonic fan, there's going to be some things that are questionable, a little kiddie. But overall, this movie's enjoyable. And I will say, it kind of starts out good. Gets a little slow, then ramps up. Then you're going to have the 30-minute bathroom break time. That's the wedding scene. There's funny stuff in there, but that's definitely the low. But right after that, it's like the first movie is kind of, it starts out with a little action, and then it's kind of like slow build up. And then for the last hour, you have all of a sudden a half hour of, like, after all this build up and it's finally like fast paced, then it like slows down significantly for this wedding storyline. And then the last 30 minutes are like total amped when there should have been some Crush 40 music. It's good. Oh, speaking, last little Easter egg thing, when Super Sonic goes and he creates the chili dog, he's there and his eyes are, in the UK, when Sonic turns into Super Sonic, he goes evil. So he's like, ultimate power corrupts ultimately. And when Knuckles, he's not the Sonic you don't touch him. It's like, it's always a last resort. Like, that's how he defeats the bad guy, but then he becomes the bad guy. It's kind of like the Hulk or Godzilla or something like he becomes evil to stop the evil, but then he's got to be cooled down and the other heroes have to stop him. The fake out of that, and then a chili dog comes down. Perfect. Love it. I know UK fans are 50-50 on that. They either love the reference or they hate the bait and switch, but I loved it. So that was my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts on it? Let me know down in the comments below. I'll catch you in the next video.